Election day is on Tuesday, and in Seattle, voters are choosing between incumbent Mayor Bruce Harrell and his challenger, Katie Wilson.
I recently sat down with both candidates to discuss the city's top issues, including homelessness. They each had some sharp criticism of the other's approach. Here are portions of those conversations with Harrell and Wilson. Your challenger, Katie Wilson, you've brought her up a couple of times already now. One of the things that she has voiced concerns about is your record on homelessness. She says that there are thousands more people who are living on the streets right now than even before you took office. She believes that the strategy under your administration has been more pushing people around to different neighborhoods rather than actually taking care of the problem. What is your response to that?
My response, number one, is my opponent has done absolutely nothing in this space. It's very easy to criticize when my opponent has zero experience in treating homelessness. The fact of the matter is that 70% of the people we are treating for homelessness in Seattle, 7-0, did not become unhoused here in Seattle. The fact is the city inherited a model that's supporting a regional approach, and they are the only city in the whole county that pays into this fund. The fact of the matter is that in this country, homelessness has gone up 18%. That's almost 800,000 people, almost 1 million people that are homeless in this country. Homelessness has gone up in the state. Homelessness has gone up in the county. And so to criticize Seattle for its challenges, which I openly embrace to do better, that's an unfair and inaccurate criticism. Easy to make, hard to do. Her plan, her housing plan to hold up 4,000 emergency shelter, that's her plan. Number one, she has no plan on how to pay for that, and that takes money right out of affordable housing. The levy that we passed keeps 9,000 people in their homes, creates 3,100 more houses. That's 12,000 people that we're preventing from becoming homelessness. So 85% of the tiny homes you see in the entire county are in Seattle, and we've increased people from shelter to permanent supportive housing by 50%. So we are showing how it can be done, and homelessness can be solved, but it must be done on a regional basis. And so that's a criticism that someone on the sidelines that really has done nothing in this space can make, but it's just inconsistent with what we're actually out here doing on the street.
One thing that we have noticed is that a lot of those homeless encampments and those tents, they have been clear. They're not as visible as they were, say, 5 years ago. Do you give Mayor Harrell any credit for that?
I think the problem that we're seeing is that the current administration's approach puts a big emphasis on throwing tents into dumpsters. But the fact is that we're not actually doing anything for the people that were in those tents. And so we have thousands more people sleeping unsheltered on our streets today than we did when Harrell took office. And we also have lost shelter capacity. So every single year the current mayor's been in office, we have lost shelter beds. And this includes these kind of really important, 24-hour beds with wraparound services. Like, that's exactly what we need to successfully get people off the street. And we have not been investing in that. And so, yeah, no, we need to do better.
He has said that he's invested in permanent housing, that he wants to create more of those. But you, on your website, you had mentioned that you want 4,000 new temporary emergency units. Why is that important to you?
I mean, the fact is that we need to do both. We need to invest both in that permanent supportive housing and in shelter. And I mean, I will say that on the permanent housing front, we have a crisis there too, right? Our affordable housing sector is, there are a lot of financial pressures, and we've actually seen housing providers selling off buildings. So we have lost, I think, over 1,000 units, and that's like a permanent loss to our affordable housing stock. And that's, again, something that we've known about that for a couple of years, that crisis was coming, and unfortunately the current mayor failed to address it before it got to that point where buildings were being sold off. But on the shelter front, it's really important that we create more emergency housing and shelter, because that is the first place that people come inside, right? And again, we have more people unsheltered than ever before, and we absolutely need to get people inside with that shelter and support, and that's just something that has not been emphasized nearly enough over the last 4 years. And if we're going to meaningfully address the homelessness crisis and the public safety problems that kind of revolve around it, we need to do better on shelter.
If you'd like to watch the extended interviews with Harrell and Wilson, just head to the election section on fox13seattle.com or the Fox local app.
The race between Harrell and Wilson was also the main topic of discussion on this week's episode of Seattle News Weekly. Fox 13 anchors Aaron Mayovsky and John Hopperstadt sat down to talk about the race and what each candidate is doing right now to try and pull ahead in the polls.
Katie Wilson is saying, the campaign has faced the questions regarding past comments on abolishing the police department, which have been criticized by the Harrell campaign. She's kind of retracted a little bit on that.
And this is an issue, and he's right that this is a statewide issue. It's a nationwide issue that we're dealing with.
I've noticed a change. I feel like if Nordstrom wasn't a flagship and out of Seattle here, they'd be gone, just like they did in San Francisco.
I think there's a culture change where people view coming into Seattle as this dangerous thing to do.
That full episode of the Seattle News Weekly podcast now airing on the Fox local app and on Fox 13 Seattle's YouTube page. You can also listen to it anywhere you get your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more.
And Fox 13 has you covered on election night. Join David, our political analyst, and I as we break down all the results. That's Tuesday from 8 to 10 p.m. on Fox 13 Plus and on the Fox local app.